successful and not that successful stories from the entrepreneurial world of Oulu, Finland. And today we have in the studio Katariina. Welcome, and please introduce yourself briefly.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. This is actually my second podcast recording, so I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Katariina Pentillä. I am a CEO and co-founder in Glowdia, online interior design company.
Thank you very much for responding to the invitation. And Glowdia, it is an online platform that empowers interior design for both customer and designers. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about it?
Yeah, of course. Glowdia is online platform for interior design, and as you said, that it's a platform that brings together interior designers, customers, and also products. And it's absolutely the easiest way to hire an interior designer to fix your decoration problems at your home.
Okay. Can you share a bit about your background and what inspired you to start Glowdia?
Okay, this is a long story. How much time do we have?
We have.
I have been entrepreneur now almost 9 years in two phases. I had two companies. This is Glowdia is my second company. And to go a little bit to my backgrounds, I never ever thought that I would be entrepreneur. Even though that I grew up in a family where my mom is entrepreneur. And no, I'm not traumatized that my mom worked so much that I will never ever want to be entrepreneur. It just wasn't something that I would consider doing when I'm a grown up. In high school, I think I was very strongly pushed towards the field of social work because I was very socially skilled. And I think quite many my age women somehow were pushed towards that. But I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I think that was a very educating field for me, and I graduated in 2007 in the field of social services at Polytechnic, and I worked a couple of years in that field, and I absolutely loved it. But it wasn't my passion that I really wanted to do. And actually it was when I left on a maternity leave in 2009, and then I really had some time to figure out what I want to do. And at that time I had my aunt without work at that time, and she started to discuss with me that what if we would found a company? We both had little kids, so it was obvious that it's need to be something to do with kids. And actually in that time we were among the pioneers who started to discuss about eco-friendly materials in kids clothing. And it was the time when the kids domestic kids clothing brands were rising. And we founded our first company in 2010, and we happened to be at the right place in the right time. As I said, that we were among with the pioneers, and we didn't know that the domestic children clothing brands would be a huge thing. And our business model was also born quite accidentally because we couldn't receive the funding for the original idea that we wanted to have, and that was a baby cafe here in Oulu. And we had to, we need to think something else. And because of the lack of funding, our concept was born, and it was a home sales concept. And it was a very good business model, and we really proved that there is a market and there was a demand, but the business model didn't stood as it was it wasn't profitable. But because we had proven that there is a market and there's a viability at this kind of business model, the bigger companies got interested in us and it was actually in 2013 when we transfer our business to a bigger operator in the field. And we worked there a couple of years, and that was a place where I really got my learnings how to work in a growth company. So that was my first business.
Thank you very much for sharing. And what about Glowdia itself?
Yeah. Well, then I left on a maternity leave once again, and I had time on my hand, and it was actually like my own problem that I had in my own home when I had a baby, and I spent a lot of time in my home. We lived in a newly built apartment, but it was very unfinished.
Okay.
And then I started to think that I really, really want to hire a professional interior designer to fix my decorating problems. But me, like so many others, think that it's like super expensive. And I thought that too, that it's so expensive that we can never afford to hire a designer, that we need to just settle with this, what we have. Then I started to think that why on earth is interior design not online at this time? And then I really got excited about this idea and started to research, and actually found that there were companies mainly in US. Then I found like online interior design, there is platforms like this, and things can be done remotely. Then I started to think about my immediate circle, that do I know any interior designers? And I had a friend whose sister is interior designer, and I drove to Tampere to meet Kirsi. And I pitched the idea that I had, and I showed the companies that I found from the US that the things the people are doing online interior design, and it was actually when I met Kirsi, I didn't know this before, but when we met, she told me that she's quitting in the industry of interior design because she was so frustrated about like a client acquisition and the long and costly design projects. So, and she was working alone in her company, like most of the interior designers. So it's a very lonely job to do by yourself. And Kirsi said to me that, okay, Kata, if we can implement this here in Finland, this is the way how I want to work in this field. So it was a perfect match. We had the consumer problem, and we had the designer's problem. And later on, we had a solution, and that's Glowdia. It was a match.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. And my next question is about the growth strategies. Okay, finding a company, I totally understand that. But afterwards, how you made it global in Finland, and how are you planning to target different markets?
Yeah, if I go in the beginning of Glowdia, the first couple years were building the company from scratch. So it was creating products, building the platform, recruiting first designers, getting first partners, and it was a struggle. And we only had a small bank loan to start with. Okay. So of course the resources were very small and the pressure was high. And to be honest, we truly believed that our company, the business model and the idea was so outstanding that we just needed to press and release the site, and boom, it would break through. But it didn't happen. And it was in 2019 when we brought an advisor to our company. So when we had this advisor who really taught me everything about startup world, didn't know anything about funding, didn't even think that big, that we could go global and do big things. So it was because of my advisor who opened these doors and educated me, and opening the doors for investors, didn't know anything about funding world. So I think that was the biggest thing that made us what we are today.
Okay.
And during that time we had our first investors on board in 2020, it was the time of COVID-19. The market was changing, but for us, I think the change was like an opportunity that people were staying at home and using these remote services like never before. So that was a huge opportunity for us, and that was the time when we pilot our service also in Sweden.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for sharing. And speaking of funding, first I want to know where you met your advisor. Did you know him from before? And then afterwards about funding, how important was it for you, like that boost, so you can go in Sweden and expand?
I met our advisor in Business Oulu event.
Okay.
And I think that's super important to attend all the events that you have locally in your hometown. It was through Business Oulu, I think it was Hannu Hiltunen who introduced me to Antti, who was speaking there, that Antti, this is Kata, you definitely should meet and talk more.
Okay.
That's how the story began. And it's very crucial that he came into Glowdia and was excited about our business model and opened the doors for me, for the investors. And that allowed us to grow and had the opportunity to grow. And I think that's like essential to have these business angels working with us, not only because of the money and we had more resources to build our platform and open new markets, but also all the advices and the knowledge that they brought into the company.
Very, very interesting so far. What is the roadmap from now for Glowdia? What are the next markets that you're planning to?
I think we needed to take a few steps back. We are still thinking big, and we know that the Finnish market is very important for us, but our target markets are in countries where Scandinavian and Nordic design is very popular. So, for example, Asian markets, or in Europe, Spanish market is very interesting for us. But what I mean when I'm saying that we are taking now couple steps back is that we need to conquer our domestic market first. And this was something I think that we were neglecting a little bit in the beginning when we wanted to grow. So I think the key word is cash flow. We really need, we cannot just trust to get funding. For example, times like this, that we are in there is a war and rates are high and inflation and everything. So it's we cannot trust on funding. We need to fix our cash flow first, and that's something that we can do here in Finland.
And what was the most challenging through your journey in Glowdia through these years?
There are a lot of things, but I think in the beginning, like I told that a couple of years were building from scratch. It was also building our team because this is a company that was founded with friends. And I think the one obstacle was that we really didn't expect is to lose a team member in the very early in Glowdia. We didn't expect that. So that was like a very big hit. It was a crisis in our company. And this could also be my advice to all the entrepreneurs, even though that I have founded my 2 companies with a family member and with friends. You really might want to consider founding a company with friends, because there's also the possibility where we founded Glowdia, we laughed this, that we will never lose our friendship, even though that we were warned about it, but we thought that will not happen for us, but it did happen for us. And when she left our company, there were several years that we didn't even speak. to each other. So it really hurt our friendship. But I'm happy to say that today we are friends again. Or we are like building our friendship again. And now we understand better each other. I understand the reasons why she left. When she left, didn't understand it then, but I really understand it now. Yeah, so I think that's like a obstacle. And of course, another thing is money. That's also something that we have been struggling, because you really need to be prepared that the company is not profitable
for the first few years.
For the first few years. And I would recommend that if it's possible, do not quit your day job, like the first thing, and when you have a good idea. And it's a good idea and good implementation. It's not always enough. You need to do a lot of things on marketing and on sales to get things done and succeed. And about team, I would also recommend that make sure that there's a team member who really knows about marketing. That's like super important. We had to learn ourselves, and it's slow when you have to do it by yourself and like learn every day new things.
Yeah, I was going to ask how important is the core team, and where were you looking in the beginning to recruit new members?
We didn't actually recruit like actively new members into our team, but we recruited like partners, like designers and product sales partners, advisors and investors. But we had like a few persons that who might have been like a good fit into our team, and we considered adding new team members. But the thing that I learned, that's the founding team is so important. It's like the core of your company, because when things go like really tough, the company is struggling, these are the people who stay in your company. Like if you add like late co-founders or like a new team members, it's easier to leave when you are not like truly invested into the company. This is something that I also have learned. Like make sure that you have a good core co-founding team who are really investing in your company, who really believe in your company. And before I thought that it's like super easy to add new team members, finding like super talented and innovative people to your team. It's not that simple.
It's not a good match. Let's go back to funding and how tough were the early days in terms of, you said that you were in maternity leave at the time, and did you have like a day job at the time, or were you 100% invested?
I was 100% invested in Glowdia when we founded Glowdia, and if I could make the decision again, I would probably stay in my day job a little bit longer to have more time to build up the base of the company.
Thank you for sharing that. Just a second. Another thing, yes, how tough is to combine parenting and managing a company?
It can be tough, but I think not that hard if you remember to like schedule your calendar, take time for your family and your friends. But of course I'm thinking, because I'm a mom and I'm shifting weeks with my ex-husband, so this actually gives me a little bit more time to work with my company when kids are with their father. But of course I'm worried that are my kids traumatized because I'm working so much. Not all the time, but of course my kids are used to for me to work in the evenings and working in the weekends if there's something that I really need to do it like right away. Yeah, it's tough, but it's doable, I would say. And a little bit about from my personal life, you were asking parenting, and this is something that I didn't expect when I founded Glowdia, that actually life happens even are you an entrepreneur or not. And that also happened to me. For example, I got divorced, so like big life-changing events are happening, if you want it or not, and you need to be prepared everything when you are an entrepreneur, your finance and your timing and everything. It's something that I really didn't. I just thought that I will be an entrepreneur and have a huge success right away, and everything is like they were when I founded Glowdia, but it's never going that easily.
Totally agree with that. And what advices do you have like for future entrepreneurs, for people that are just starting their thing right now?
Yeah, I already said this, that don't quit your day job right away. I think that's very important advice, and gather around with experienced people. Like I had the opportunity to have the advisor and investors on board, and meet a lot of people, and meet people as people. Don't be afraid about what's their position or education or anything. It's something that I was really at first terrified that okay, now I need to go to Helsinki and meet all the investors. I really don't know anything about this world, but I went there. I met these people and they were just like a regular people, even though that they were celebrities or like big investors. But I would say that don't be afraid of meeting like people in any position, and meet them as a people.
Are you actively looking for funding right now for investments or no?
No, not at the moment. Like I said, that we are now focusing on the cash flow and marketing and our domestic markets. We actually had we strengthened our company in spring this year. We had 2 new investors on board, and we have been building our B2B platform also, the office design packages. That's something that we have been doing, and also cooperating with the renovation companies and doing SEO and like marketing, like really trying to find where our customers are and who are our like customers that we want to reach, because the market it's like terrible at the moment. So it made us also like think about who are our customers now today. When we started, they were like families with medium income living in Uusimaa area, and now we need to think again. Okay, this is the target group that was like very strongly affected by the crisis that we been having, like the rates going up and inflation, and they were the target group that didn't use services, interior design services at times like this. So we needed to like think again who can be your customers, and that's how was came the idea about the companies. Okay, now it's the time to approach also companies and do the office designs, and so that's what we are doing at the moment.
Speaking about the business model itself, are you planning to focus more on the B2B side or the B2C?
I would say that still it's P2C. It's like why we started. That's our why we started Glowdia. We wanted that everybody has the opportunity to hire interior designer to help decorating a home. But B2B is so new that I don't know. the story begins or continues about that. What if the focus is on B2B? But I still believe that B2B is important and something that we want to explore, but the main focus it's B2C still.
And yeah, jumping from the topic, what was the biggest, the hardest moment besides a core member leaving the company? Were there any other survival moments, so to say, for Glowdia?
Yeah, I think because the years have been challenging, of course, having your core team motivated, I think that's something that at time to time, of course, we are human beings, it's a struggle, and maybe one of my advices would be for the future entrepreneurs or newly entrepreneurs is that make sure that your whole core team meets people, tells about your company, because I think meeting people and explaining what you do is where you get the feedback. And when you have the feedback and you see the light in the eye of a listener, you gets motivated and remember that this is why I do this. She or he understands this business model, understands this problem. This is a problem also for the listener. So I think that would be my advice and something that we have been discussing in our team, that we all need to meet people and meet our clients, meet our partners, and yeah, that's super important.
Thank you for sharing that. Sorry, my brain is lacking today. I will ask for one book recommendation.
I was thinking about this question because I knew that you will be asking this, and I could say some business book.
Okay.
I might still say some business book recommendation, but I was actually talking about this topic with one of our investors, and I would recommend to read a novel because it's super important to air your brain on time to time. Everything is not about business and improving yourself and learning new things. I think it's so important to take a minute to yourself and air your brain. So I would say read a novel.
Okay.
And there's one good novel. I think this might be for the female listeners and viewers, but it's the Finnish title is Suon villi laulu. I'm not sure what is the English title. I think it's something like Where the Crawdads Live.
Okay.
I think that's the title of
Who's
the book.
The author? Or if I can check it afterwards.
Yeah, I think you need to check. I don't remember the author, but yeah, it was I really got into that book. I remember that, like, I think forever. That's the book that I really, really loved reading and aired my brain from all the business stuff. But I can say also one. It's not actually a business book, but it's like a autobiography. Is that the right English word? But it's like a story of Kirsti Paakkanen, the former owner of Marimekko. And the biggest of them is love. I think that's the title, the story of Kirsti Paakkanen. It was super inspiring story.
We'll check it out for sure. One question that comes to my mind. Were you ever close to a burnout, or have you experienced a burnout through your career?
If you ask me, I would say no.
Okay.
But if you would be asking from my family members or my friends, they might be saying that, yep, there were signs like red flags. But I would still say that no, because I think that I have a very how to say it, like I can handle pressure very well. Even though that things are tough, I can like focus on something else, forget for a little while for all the heavy stuff, on the business side. So I think that's my strength, and also I have a lot of friends who help me to focus on something else. Let's do something fun.
Changing
and,
focus.
changing
okay,
focus. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Um, Interesting. I haven't put meaning behind it and how powerful it can be. I would like to ask you for any event that's happening in Oulu.
Christmas.
Christmas, okay.
It's Christmas soon, no. Actually, I don't know that this time of the year how many events there are, but there's one event that I want to mention. I really hope that these events will be held again next year. It's called Altistus. I don't know, do you know this?
No, I
It's
don't know.
like a networking event that happens in a bar. Like there's a food, drinks, and like-minded people, and you can also. I have been a couple of these events, and for example, I think the coolest thing was that you can meet these new people and join the escape room, the game. You know the game
Yes.
escape room with strangers, like these people that you have
Okay.
just met and solving problems with them. So I think this is very cool concept that I hope that will continue. Here
Is
in
it
Oulu.
organized through Business Oulu?
No,
or?
no.
Okay, at what time is it?
I don't know the
Summer
events that will happen next year, but I hope that there will be. There have been, I think, 3 Altistus events, a couple of in this year,
Okay.
2023. But I hope that this will happen again, because this is such a cool concept. It's like one friend, I heard that my friend said that, oh, it's like a LinkedIn in a bar.
Okay.
So I think that was the very nice way to say it. LinkedIn in a bar, Altistus.
I've heard about pub crawls that were organized by Oulu, yes. I really hope they will return next year. Basic pub crawls, it's startup crawls.
Yeah.
Basically, going from startup to startup and exploring it, getting to know the team behind
that's
it,
nice.
checking the offices.
Yeah.
I also think it might be very good for the networking part.
Yeah.
And one more question. Are you listening to any podcasts, Finnish or in English?
Actually, not that many at the
okay.
moment. And the podcasts that I listen are mainly like entertainment
Okay.
podcasts, mainly, not business podcasts. Should do that more.
I'm also not listening to business podcasts in the strict field of like business.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not that much actually. When you said, like, I think, for example, I listen a lot of audiobooks, but now I want to return like reading actual books and turning pages. I think this is something that I want to do. This would be my New Year's promise to myself, that read more books, like actual books.
Yeah. Actually, for this year, this was like during New Year's Eve, I set a goal for myself to read and listen to 1 book per month. It's not a big goal, but still it was a step up compared to last year.
Yeah.
And so far it's going well. I still have to finish like the final 2 books, listening and reading for the year. And planning to set even a higher goal for next year.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
And remember to read a novel once in a while.
I will. But I'll be open to any recommendations. Mainly the books that I'm reading are about self-development, marketing.
Yeah. One book was recommended for me actually in the event where we met. It was from Tuomas, who recommended The Mom Test.
Yes.
And this is actually the book that I ordered. Haven't received the book yet, but I'm really looking forward to read that one.
I got introduced to this book, let's say, beginning of the year on an accelerator program in Bulgaria, and I think I listened to it in the car. Like, it's a great book.
Yep.
I really, really like it.
Yeah, we need to organize a book club here in Oulu.
Is there one or there isn't?
I think that there might be, but I don't know that
Okay.
if there is. But I think this would be a super cool idea for the startups to have a book club.
Yeah. Thank God that here in right next to the studio there is like a shelf of quite a few, let's say, self-development / entrepreneurial books, and yeah, I'm grabbing every now and then a book from here. But yeah, is there anything else that I didn't ask you about and you wanted to speak?
I could talk hours and hours about our business, but I think it's not the most important thing. I think it's like my story might not be the huge success right away and from startup to big exit right away, but I think the most important message that I can say to you and all the listeners and viewers is that this is a story about never giving up. It's a story about Sisu, and that you continue doing your work, opening new doors, trying new ways to do your business, even though when things get tough. And this is something that we have been doing because our company is now over 5 years old, and we are still building it. So it doesn't happen in overnight or in couple of years. It takes time, sometimes more time than others, but I think it's like trying to find new ways how to do things, finding new people who believe in your company, who want to invest in your company, and that's the thing that I want to share with my story.
Thank you very much. I know your schedule is quite busy, so I still don't know how to close the podcast, but yeah, thank you very much for accepting the invitation and for our quick talk here, and thanks for the viewers and listeners.